Be live now on YouTube. Let's make sure we get going on TikTok as well. Hold on. There we go. There we go. What am I looking for here? Okay. Okay. Think everything's up and running. Let's just make sure the TikTok thing is connected. Okay. That should be working. I'm going to announce real quick on my Discord and then we can get started. Okay. Feels weird being this early. Yeah, we're gonna give it a second for some more people to hop on. I want to watch this interview that Trump did on NBC because I've seen some clips of it, and it looks like pure rage bait. Pure rage bait. We'll also see if we can get some debates done today, but it's not necessarily the end-all be-all of today's live. If you are hopping on, make sure you guys are double tapping the screen. I am also live right now on YouTube. If you're not subscribed already on YouTube, make sure you head over there and do that as well. The live layout is much better on YouTube. And speaking of YouTube, welcome to Aunt Buffy. I need to do a better job of looking at the YouTube chat because the TikTok chat is usually so many more people. So I have that pulled up, and I'm going to try to keep my eye on that as well. Trump is doing amazing, says Mark. I don't know if he's trolling or who's left in this coalition. I feel like there's no normal people left that support Trump, which is why even the idea of debates is starting to feel a little bit like the people that are left, they're not going to a debate with them. I don't know what it achieves, but we'll see. And I know I've been pretty MIA in terms of lives recently, so we'll see if the algorithm is nice to us today or not. Because it's been maybe 5-6 days since I went live last, and definitely haven't been doing it daily recently. But okay, let's switch over. Whoops. Oh my God, bro. Okay. I didn't say 6-7. I said 5-6. Big difference. Okay. Hold on. This is a little bit annoying. Okay, I guess we now know that the screen capture thing is not any better off than it was, so that we might have to bear with that for today. There we go. Yeah, I want to watch this. And, okay, the fucking... Bro, this audio thing is so annoying. I might have to restart. I might actually have to restart. We'll try for a little bit. If the audio capture and the screen capture freezes up, I'm going to have to restart the live because I'm going to rage quit the live if that shit keeps happening. What do you think about citizens of Minneapolis being nominated for Nobel Peace Prize? I don't know what the metrics are for who qualifies for a Nobel Peace Prize. Maybe it could make sense. Honestly, looking forward to your take on news. Debates have been mask off today. That's the thing. The people that are left, I really feel like after the Alex Preddy thing, I made a video about this recently. The Alex Preddy situation, I think, was a really good threshold to like distinguish Trump voters from Trump supporters. Anyone who's like still on the Trump train after the Alex Preddy response, I don't know if those people are winnable. Thankfully, it's not many people, right? It's maybe like 15-20% of the country that's like okay with that kind of shit. But and welcome to anyone who is hopping on from Dean's Live. I think maybe the award money would just be awarded to the city. Okay. What will happen? The Epstein files? I don't know. I don't have to the extent that the Epstein files are going to affect Trump. I think that's still a few months out because it seems like they have a few 100,000 documents which they're holding on to, and here's the thing. If the Epstein documents they've released thus far are this bad, it really calls into question what is in the remaining documents they have not yet released. And they're now claiming we don't have to release them because these documents pertain to active investigations, even though they also told us earlier that those active investigations don't exist because Epstein only trafficked to himself. That makes complete sense. Again, welcome to everyone who's hopping on from Dean's Live. We are going to be watching this interview that Trump did recently. So if you want some good rage bait, if you want some good, and oh my God, the DNI whistleblower claim, we're so fucked. It's so bad. This election stuff is really, really, really bad. It is really, really bad. Andrew Wilson smoked you. What does zero sum mean again? And listen, the guy who's spamming the stars and stripes thing, just no spam. I'm sorry. I'm going to have to mute you for a bit. I don't mind the spirit of what you're saying, but we can't be spamming that, especially those words. I don't want to get my live taken down or flagged. Again, welcome to everyone who's coming over from Dean's Live. Let's get started on this.
Exclusively with President Trump at this extremely pivotal moment in his second term. The president making a number of headlines discussing everything from the midterm elections to the economy to his administration's handling.
I'm going to be extremely triggered for this entire video. Just a heads up. Like I've seen clips of this. This is the most spineless man to ever walk the earth. This interview was like an exercise in seeing how far up Trump's ass he could stick his nose. Like it was a painful watch, and just the clips that I've seen.
Tell me what he learned from Minneapolis and about where ICE officers.
Get ready for everyone to excuse away the meme Trump posted. That's all they did. That's all they did all day with Dean. Yeah, I'm not surprised. And how fucked is it that when I saw the screenshot of what Trump posted on Truth Social with depicting Michelle and Barack Obama as monkeys, that I was like, that tracks. That's what I would expect. It was only a matter of time. How fucked is that? The standards are like below ground at this point. But let's get started with this. And this will segue into, I really want to talk about the election. People are not sufficiently scared about the upcoming election. That there is a lot that could go wrong here. And I need someone here to vindicate me. How long have I been talking about they're going to seize voting machines? How long have I been talking about this? Before it became like prevalent in the mainstream media and Trump said like a couple months ago that, I regret not doing that. I've been calling attention to that executive order for, I want to say since like last summer. And it's so annoying to me that it only pops up now when we're only a few months away from midterms. I wish that the people that were in power were paying attention to this stuff a little bit more in advance. Because you know damn well, Trump never got over his 2020 election loss. And these people have had the last 5 years, 6 years to figure out exactly what went wrong last time. Since before the 2025 off-year elections, yeah. Fulton was crooked as hell. Okay, yeah, thanks, user 8540974550841. Average Trump supporter here. Yeah.
Could head next. And with the affordability crisis impacting so many Americans right now, you'll hear what he said about when to expect economic relief. I also asked him point blank about this moment with Fed Chair Jerome Powell and if his Justice Department would drop the investigation into Powell. And as the Republican Party faces growing pressure ahead of the midterms, what he said about the possibility of 2028 and the presidential ticket possibly.
I want people to understand something, right? I've seen a lot of people recently saying, well, can Trump really be an authoritarian? He kind of backtracked in Minnesota, right? And with Greenland as well. For a while, he's saying, I'm about to invade Greenland. And then he gives that speech and he's like, okay, I won't actually militarily invade it, obviously. Same thing with Minnesota. He's like, Insurrection Act any day now. And then he's like, I kind of want to de-escalate and like, let's send Tom home in as if that's a good thing to do. All that proves is that he's not yet confident in his election rigging ability. Right? The fact that he still feels at least somewhat beholden to the Republican Party and the voters is a good sign in the sense that like his authoritarian takeover isn't complete yet. But it also shows us, like, notice how immediately they pivot from the Alex Preddy thing to, why is Tulsi Gabbard at the Fulton County Election Office for this extremely suspicious search warrant, right? It's not a coincidence that they immediately pivot to election interference after getting that blowback in Minnesota, because they realize if we actually want to implement our agenda to the extent that we want to do it, we have to have guardrails up that protect us from democracy and from public sentiment.
on the Republican side, Vice President J.D. Vance and Secretary of State Marco Rubio. Plus, we pressed him on what those FBI agents were looking for when they raided an election office in Georgia, and his warning tonight to Iran's supreme leader after that country's deadly protest crackdown. Also, the surprising response when asked about his relationship with former President Bill Clinton. During our talk, the president pointing out ongoing construction on the White House.
I'll say this.
What he said about
Bill Clinton, if you're listening, I know he's a big viewer of the stream, big fan of mine. Bill Clinton, just come clean and take Trump down with you, okay? Your reputation's already pretty cooked, okay? You had your moment in the sun. Your economy was decent when you were president. That's all great. Just admit to all of it and just spill the beans on Trump. Take him down with you, okay? If you're going to sink to the bottom of the ocean, tie a fucking anchor around him as well and take him with you, at least.
About bulletproof windows and drone-proof ceilings being installed, and if he ever worries about his own safety, plus what he told me about his personal health. But we start with the major breaking news out of Minneapolis tonight. Tom Homan announcing he's pulling hundreds of federal officers out of Minnesota, and that's where our conversation begins.
Okay, let's drill down into the news today. That big change on immigration.
Double tap the screen, guys. Share the live. Let's
Minneapolis. Did that come from you?
Yes, it did. But it didn't come from me because I just wanted to do it. We are waiting for them to release prisoners, give us the murderers that they're holding, and all of the bad people, drug dealers, all of the bad people. We allowed in our country, I say 25 million people with an open border policy for 4 years under Biden and that group, the Autopen group, I call them. We allowed to come into our country people the likes of which no country would accept. And we're getting them out.
This is not a W interviewer. This is not. Don't let him fool you because he asks a semi-critical question here and there. I have seen clips of this guy on Twitter that have made me have fucking steam come out of my ears, like that video that Colin Allred made in his garage.
But we've gotten a lot of them out. So crime now in Minnesota, crime now in Minneapolis is down.
I probably will also speak on the Tallarico Crockett thing a little bit because I haven't given my take on that. And I know everyone here knows I'm like a big James Tallarico fan.
All cities is down. And you know why it's down? It's down because of us. It's down in Chicago by 25%, despite the fact that we are always dealing with these people, and they happen to be Democrats,
Speaking of
that don't know anything about crime prevention.
Mr. President, speaking of Minneapolis.
Just no follow-up, no questions, just yep, moving on. Can you guys imagine how much the right would be like shitting their pants if this is how they interviewed Obama or Clinton? Or even Bush? Like, if you go back, I do this thing where, like, go back and watch the 60 Minutes interview with Obama. He did multiple ones. Those were very critical interviewers. This idea that, like, oh, the mainstream media was always glazing Obama. Bro, they shit on him for the red line thing in Syria. He got tough questions about his drone strikes. Like, Trump has the most media bias in his favor of any president in the modern era, by far. By far.
What did you learn?
I learned that maybe we can use a little bit of a softer touch.
You never expect to hear that. If you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor. Oh, yeah, that was like the big thing with the ACA, yeah.
But you still have to be tough.
Bro, this pisses me off. I've seen a lot of people be like, oh, we can all breathe easy. Trump said, like, we need to take a bit of a softer touch. Do you think that Trump is like fucking the Grinch and his heart just grew by 3 sizes because Alex Preddy died? No. These people are going to pick and choose which hill they want to die on. And ultimately, the crazy ethnic purification campaign that Stephen Miller believes in, that's not really what gets Trump out of bed in the morning. Trump is actually a very simple man. He's an authoritarian because he's a narcissist with a chip on his shoulder. He wants mainstream societal acceptance and adoration and love, and then he wants to get revenge on anyone who doubted him or shit on him ever. That's it, which is going to mean that his main goal right now is, I don't want to get embarrassed during the midterm elections. I don't want that to be a referendum on me, and now all of a sudden the House and Senate are Democrat controlled, right? That's his actual... So he's like, okay, fuck the immigration thing. Like, we'll do that after we've consolidated fully all of our power. Fuck everything else. We have to go after political opponents and rig the election. That is his bread and butter. That will always be paramount for Trump. There are ideologues that work under him, especially Stephen Miller and Russ Vought. These, I think, are the two most significant ideologues in the Trump administration. Russ Vought believes very heavily in like unitary executive theory and this idea that the president should kind of be an autocrat. And Stephen Miller believes in this very weird, we have to annex every country and kick out every non-white person. Trump is more than happy to advance those goals, but they flew through him, not from him. The things that come from Trump, like that really wake him up in the morning, it's, Russ is the OBM guy, yeah. And he was a big part of Project 2025. The things that Trump really cares about is how do I lock up James Comey and like how do I insult Obama and like how do I make sure that the elections are never unfavorable? Because for all the right tells us, like the left, you're never going to get over January 6th, are you? Hello? Has he ever stopped talking about January 6th and the 2020 election? He never got over it. He never got over it. He's so ass mad still that Biden beat him and that Biden got more votes than Trump did, even when he won the popular vote this last time. That keeps him up at night. It bothers him. It's the box he has to check is rectifying the 2020 election.
We're dealing with really hard criminals. But look, I've called the people. I've called the governor. I've called the mayor, spoke to them, had great conversations with them. And then I see them ranting and raving out there. Literally as though a call wasn't made. We've done a great job everywhere. The only place there's been a little inflammation has been really, it's not Minnesota because we've done well with
Los Angeles, too. There's been others. Yeah.
Well, I saved Los Angeles. The top law.
I'm sorry. How do you just casually say I saved Los Angeles? And the interviewer is just, you have nothing to say? Okay.
Enforcement officer right at the beginning of my time when they were having riots. Before me and it carried into me. If I didn't go in there with the National Guard, with troops, you wouldn't have the Olympics, which I got the Olympics. You wouldn't have the Olympics in Los Angeles. And he said, without the president sending in the troops, we would have lost Los Angeles. Yeah. And you know what? I saved Los Angeles. And we will do it again if we have to. And by the way, we're going to have a very safe Olympics.
Bro's just nodding and saying, yep. No pushback, no follow-up.
We're going to have a very safe World Cup.
Speaking of Minneapolis, after the shooting of Renee Good, you said ICE made some mistakes. What were the mistakes?
Well, look, I'm not happy with the two incidents. It's not, it's both of them.
The only reason that Trump kind of like quote-unquote flipped on this issue, even though his amended or new response is marginally better but still bullshit, is because he found out that Renee Good's, I think, father-in-law is a Trump supporter. And he openly gave a speech saying, like, yeah, once I found out that Renee Good's family liked me, I started feeling really bad about all of this. It's the only reason he cares. I'm stealing your viewers, streaming your stream. Indictment coming soon. Host is a big crybaby. Okay. The guy who's still crying about the 2020 election, who's the president, not a crybaby, though. Makes sense.
Not one or the other. He was not an angel, and she was not an angel. You look at some tapes from back, but still, I'm not happy with what happened there. And nobody could be happy, and ICE wasn't happy.
You can tell
either.
his heart's not in it. Like the immigration stuff, it's not that he's against it, but if you really want to see that hunger and that ambition in Trump, it only comes out for like election rigging and like revenge against opponents. The ICE stuff, he's like, okay, yeah, fine, whatever.
But I'm going to always be with our...
Let me up if you're not scared. If you want to wait for us to finish this, then sure.
Great people of law
Or
enforcement.
do you have something to discuss that's relevant to the video we're watching? And in which case you can quickly hop on. I don't know.
ICE, police, we have to back them. If we don't back them, we don't have a country. If we don't back them, you're going to end up... Look, Washington, D.C. was a very unsafe place to be. You couldn't walk to the White House. You couldn't walk to a restaurant. Restaurants were closing. I inherited not only a mess with the country, I inherited a horrible, very dangerous capital. Do you know Washington, D.C. is now an extremely safe place? You see what happened. You're here a lot.
Wait, I was told that the president can't deploy the National Guard in D.C., right? Wasn't that Nancy Pelosi's job? That's what they told me. Right? The Speaker of the House has to do that. So wouldn't Mike Johnson have to call in the National Guard to D.C.? How did Trump do it? How did he do it now but not on January 6th? Can someone in MAGA explain that to me, that discrepancy?
When you mentioned Renee
Well, let
Good...
me ask you, Tom.
Yeah.
You're here a lot.
Yeah.
Would you have walked...
This is pre-recorded. True. true. I recorded this 2 days ago, guys.
Down the street a year and a half ago with your family? No. But today you can, and nothing's going to happen.
You mentioned Renee Good and Alex Peretti not being angels. Do you think any of that justified what happened to them, though?
No, I don't. It should have not happened. It was a very sad, to me, it was a very sad incident, two incidents. And, you know, they mentioned the one now, they don't mention the other. Well, I think they were both sad. And
a good question here would be, if you think it's so sad, then how do you feel about your entire administration calling these people domestic terrorists? If it's so sad, then, like, wouldn't you care about that? But the interviewer was just like, yep, whatever you
know
say,
who
sir.
feels worse about it than anybody? The people of ICE.
You are taking this out of context. I'm literally watching this full 50-minute video. Do you want me to hold off on commentary till the video's over?
Strong, tough people, and they have to be tough because we're dealing with hardened criminals.
Right.
We're dealing with people, you know, jails have been emptied into our country from all over the world, from Venezuela, where we had great success, you will admit, but from Venezuela, from the Congo in Africa.
What do you want, bro?
Yo. Hey, buddy. How much longer do you have on this video here?
Like 45 minutes.
Listen, I would love to come up and have a real debate with you in those 45 minutes. I don't want to cut you short here, but I'm just letting you know.
Do you support Trump?
No, yeah, of course. Why wouldn't I?
Like fully? You don't think he's crossed any red lines?
Oh, of course. People make human errors. People make
No, but I'm
mistakes
saying
here.
crossing a red line, like a grave mistake that can't be forgiven.
You know, you can cross that red line and then end up backpedaling back over that red line again and then standing behind it.
Sure,
So
did he backpedal over like trying to steal the 2020 election? It seems like he's forward pedaling here, right? Trying to rig it again.
He tried to steal the election? I think that's a bit of projecting coming from you liberals, right?
Nope. Trump knew he lost the 2020 election and then still tried to steal it.
How did he try to steal it? Did he go in there with his own
by
hands?
organizing fake slates of electors.
And how do you do that? What does that even mean?
By having documents of, I think, ascertainment, they're called, being fraudulently filled out by people that were not the rightly selected electors or certified by their state legislatures, and trying to send them in on January 6th, so that Mike Pence would either certify the fake electors or at the very least kick it back to the state houses.
So you're telling me that they had a whole bunch of people write things in favor of Trump and send it in against
Well, it's called fraud.
Yeah, and how did they do that?
I
do you know that
explained to you in great detail how they did that.
And Trump's the one that did that?
He was the one that instructed them to do that, yeah.
And how do you know that?
It's in the Jack Smith indictments.
Yeah, but who brought that claim upon him? Did you hear him say that himself, or did Jack Smith make that claim?
It's in the indictments, right? The claims aren't just random things pulled out of thin air. They have to actually be able to hold up in court.
Yeah, and did they hold up in court?
Has Trump ever denied the fake elector scheme?
No.
He says that he's did it and that it's okay that he did it, right?
When did he do that?
Talk about the fake elector scheme?
Mm-hmm.
Have you not heard any of his leaked phone calls from the 2020 election where he's saying, oh, you can just say that there was fraud and send in these electors? And there's like Raffensperger. There's people, I think, from Missouri as well.
Yeah, I mean,
I guess my question is, why do you even have an opinion on this if you don't know about a lot of the stuff I'm bringing up?
I think the reason he said that there's fraud is because there was fraud.
No, but Trump didn't even think he lost the election.
Because he technically didn't.
Or sorry, he didn't think he won the election. Like, Trump knew he lost. You understand that, right? People that worked for him have all said, like, yeah, he knew he lost.
Okay.
The Sidney Powell stuff behind the scenes, he made fun of her, and then publicly he championed her theories.
Well, then why is he the president?
Can you address what I just said?
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Do you agree that Trump knew he lost the 2020 election?
Sure.
So then if someone knows they lost the 2020 election and they try to change the results, what would we call that?
Oh, well, I don't know. I don't think he tried to change the results. I think he tried to change the results before he knew that.
Before he knew what?
Before he knew that he lost and he realized that
When was that? When do you think he realized he lost? You don't think he knew from day one?
It could have been a couple of years later. It could have been a couple of years later or a couple of months later.
We know that at least a month before, him and Steve Bannon were planning their exact strategy to lie about the election. We have a audio recording of Steve Bannon saying in October that the Democrat votes are mail-in. They're going to get counted after our votes, and Trump's going to take advantage of that by declaring victory on the night of the election. And that's exactly what he ended up doing, right? So this was planned.
Okay, well, that's very interesting. I just don't think that any of it would really hold up in court, and that's why it hasn't yet.
Why would it not hold up in court when there's an entire indictment about this?
Well, has the indictment jailed him?
The indictment hasn't been heard yet because Trump won the election and the FBI temporarily paused those cases, or the DOJ rather.
Oh, that's very interesting. I think this is completely off topic,
is
though,
very
from what you're
interesting.
talking about.
It's the exact
I
same
think
topic,
I
actually.
think we as a country just need to send a lot of you Democrats back to a re-education camp and learn about the actual
Wait,
history
are you
of this
trolling?
country.
Is that what this is?
No, I think that you're just genuinely a lot. I mean, you might know a little bit about elections and polls or whatever, but
I'm
when
just
it
saying,
comes
like,
to
okay, do you believe in democracy? Just broadly speaking,
of
American
course,
democracy?
of course.
So regardless of political party, if someone loses an election and then lies about losing and tries to change the results, that's bad, right?
It depends on what the context of
Okay,
it
can
is,
you give
right?
me context that would make that acceptable?
Yeah, so if you say, take this scenario where two people are running for presidency and one person wins, but you think that that person completely cheated because there's videos of people stuffing mail-in
No,
ballots.
but you're not engaging with what I said. Is
Oh,
Trump
oh.
knows he lost, so then if he knows he lost and he still tried to change the results, what does that tell us?
Well, yeah, he just ended up figuring out that he lost after that.
When do you think he figured out that he lost?
Probably, I would say, a year after.
Then why was he planning it a month before the election even to lie about it?
Because they wanted to win the election. I mean,
No.
everyone
But
wants to win the
Steve Bannon
election.
wasn't just saying, "Oh, we're going to win the election." He said whether or not Trump wins, he's going to declare victory. That's the plan.
Well, maybe that's just what he was hoping he would do. I don't think I heard Trump say that himself. Maybe it was Steve Bannon.
Well, if
projecting
Steve
what he
Bannon
wanted
said,
to-
"Hey, Trump and I have been planning this. Here's what Trump is going to do," and then Trump does exactly that, what do you think that tells us?
I think that coincidences are real, right? So he
That's
might
a
have said
coincidence
something
that a
and-
guy that works with Trump and for Trump is saying Trump is going to do this, and then Trump does that, but somehow it's just a coincidence.
And just like if people
I think
say
the burden of
Jesus-
proof would be on you there to prove that it's not connected and that it's a
Well,
coincidence.
just like when you say it, when I say it, and when everyone says Jesus will bless my life today, and then Jesus comes in and blesses my life. I mean,
What?
with those things. With
Okay,
those
wait,
things
so you are
do.
trolling, right? Okay. You're pretty good at
No.
that, I won't lie. I
I'm just
believe
trying
that
to
you're
ask.
right.
I'm just trying to correlate these two things to a different subject, and you don't want to take your mind off it because you're
I don't
not
know
trying to
what
have an ethical
Jesus has
debate.
to do with election meddling.
Okay. I mean, I don't think he has anything to do with it. I'm just trying to compare the two things that you're talking about.
They're
here,
just
right?
not analogous, though.
Well, I just made the analogy.
Someone who works for Trump said, "Hey, Trump's planning to do this," and then Trump does it. Why
Are we
would that
not
be a
servants?
coincidence?
Are we not servants of the Lord? Do we work for Jesus in his name? So if I were to say Jesus is going to do this thing and then he then does that, then what would that
You're
be?
comparing Trump to Jesus Christ?
No, not at all. I'm just using an analogy.
An analogy which compares Trump to Jesus Christ.
Sure. Yeah, go ahead. Answer the question you're scared to.
I'm not going to answer a question about Jesus Christ that is not analogous to what we're talking about. Can you just
Well, if
address
you
what I
work-
said?
If you work for a boss, if you work for a boss and you don't know what that boss is going to do yet, but you say, "Oh, he's going to do this today," and then he ends up doing that, would that be a coincidence if you didn't know?
Why would you assume he didn't know?
Well, people can assume anything.
Wait,
We're
have you
human
even
beings,
heard
and
this?
we all-
Have you even heard this tape of Steve Bannon?
I think so.
What does he say in it?
Something about find me some votes or something. Is that the one?
No, that's the Trump call with Brad Raffensperger, which was after the election. The Steve Bannon tape I'm talking about is from October of 2020, before the 2020 election, which was in November, where he says that because Democrats vote by mail and their votes are going to be counted after our votes, it's going to look like Trump is leading at first, and Trump's just going to declare victory whether or not he actually won. And then isn't that exactly what happened?
I don't think that's exactly what happened.
Okay, how was it different than what I just said?
If you follow the timestamps and things that actually happened, you realize that this disputed.
Okay.
From all over the world, jails, the jail population was emptied into our country. If we don't have strong people, you're not getting them out.
Yeah.
And
Older millennial reference. Oh, that's funny. That's funny.
we're getting them out. Remember this again. I say it again and again. We have record
That was a banger.
low crime.
Write that down.
In the United States. Nobody's been able to say that for 125 years.
So I want to be clear because it sounds like there is a shift in immigration enforcement here, that there's going to
Why kick me? Because you started peeing. and you weren't even talking to me. You were just having some kind of episode about, oh, what if Jesus, like, I don't even know what you were talking about.
Be a shift after Minneapolis. What should Americans expect going forward?
Well, one thing I say to my people, you know, we do a good job, we don't get credit for it. I say they have to ask and they have to say please. When a city is
Who
going
has to ask and who has
the
to say
mayor
please?
or the governor, I don't want to go and force ourselves into a city, even if their numbers are terrible. Like, for instance, I got a call from Jeff Landry, governor of Louisiana. He said, we have a big problem. Could you go in and
It's so funny how much Trump's authoritarian project is hindered by the fact that he lacks stamina and willpower and intelligence.
help us with well, let's see.
If Trump was like younger and smarter, we'd be so cooked, bro. But he's his own biggest enemy. I'm working on a YouTube video right now about the fact that, honestly, one of the biggest things protecting us right now from full-blown fascism is Donald Trump, because he's not good at being an authoritarian. He's just not good at it. And the people like J.D. Vance and Stephen Miller and Russ Vought and all these crazy ideologues who actually want to be authoritarians, they'd probably be doing a much quicker, much smarter job of this. But because Trump is so influenced by wanting to be loved and liked, and I want all the shiny trinkets and all the prizes and everything, it actually makes him a little bit easier to combat than J.D. Vance would be.
Certain sections, I mean, to be honest with you, certain sections of the state, beyond their famous, beautiful city, certain sections of the state. We have done, not only in New Orleans, we've done a really great job in Louisiana, but I was called. I want to be called. Chicago, we could solve the Chicago crime.
Well, on that question, which cities are you headed to next?
We have 5 cities that we're looking at very strongly, but we want to be invited. We will sometimes call the governors. And
Are
say,
these cities like
you going
Chicago,
to
Philadelphia? Are these the cities?
We could straighten out the crime in Chicago. We've already brought it down 25% just by being there. We could have Chicago be a safe city, just like D.C. is a safe city, just like all of these places that we've gone to. And I look forward. You know, I didn't campaign on that.
Yeah.
I campaigned on law and order, but I didn't think I'd be going into individual cities and making them safe.
Anything else you can tell us about the 5 cities?
He just says, I didn't really campaign on like sending American troops into our cities, but I'm going to fucking do it anyways, guys. Okay.
The 5 cities, anything else? So Americans are ready?
We'll be announcing them very quickly, but we could do something. As an example, I was called by people. San Francisco said, please, we have a Democrat mayor. He's trying very hard. Would you, friends of mine that live there, it's got crime problems. Would you let him do the job and not come in? Let's see how it works. I said, look, I can do it much quicker, much faster. Don't forget, we remove criminals. We took over 2,000 hardcore criminals out of Washington, D.C. Yeah. If we didn't do that, 2% of the people create 90%
Can't repost. You're the second person to say that. That's weird.
2%. So you have a criminal because it's over and over again. 2%.
I'm sorry. Has this interviewer said fucking anything except yeah? Yeah. Has he said anything else? What is this?
90% of the crime.
I feel like I'm watching fucking North Korean state television.
Took out 2,000 people, more than 2,000 people out of Washington, D.C., and we now have a safe city.
As I mentioned, you've had success on immigration. Illegal border crossings are at historic lows, right?
You know, it's so nice that you said that.
But if you look at
Tom, what you just said.
It's true.
No, but it's so nice. I hope you air it. It's so nice what you said, because that's called good reporting. That's called fair reporting. Now give me the second part.
Now let me give you the second part of the question. But if you look
He's such a fucking child, bro. All he wants is like, it's so crazy how simple Trump is. He wants people in mainstream pop culture to think he's cool and be nice to him and finally be accepted into those circles. And then he wants as many shiny golden things as possible. That is literally his entire like life's purpose, is he wants to be glazed and showered with like riches as much as possible. It's so one-dimensional and it's so blatant. It's not like there's no layers to this man. He's just a dumbass.
Polls. Most Americans say they don't like how you've handled immigration, right? Especially what's happened in Minneapolis. How do you change their minds?
Well, I don't believe the polls, for one thing, because
of course.
How can you not I saw a poll in the border where I'm at 55%, okay?
The polls show that Americans aren't against the deportations. It's the handling of immigration.
You know, polls, it depends on the way you ask the question. I saw a poll in the border, I'm at 55%. Well, how can I only be at 55% when everybody agrees that...
even fucking Rasmussen, which is a right-wing pollster, they just conducted a poll. Again, right-wing pollster, very, very favorable towards Trump. They just said that according to their own polling, Donald Trump is less popular than Joe Biden was. I don't know what polls Trump is. He looking at fucking Truth Social polls?
The border is totally, beautifully closed, and nobody's coming in unless they come in legally, et cetera. It couldn't be better.
No. People can't even come in legally if they're seeking asylum. You just stopped accepting asylum claims pretty much.
Be at 100%. I don't believe the polls. And some polls, I mean, I could show you polls where I'm polling at 69% popularity and some polls where I'm...
Where? One of the Glazers in the chat has to have this poll. 69% support for Trump. Bro's outperforming Barack Obama's peak. Can someone find this for me? This is like George Bush post 9/11 types of numbers. Where is Trump getting 70% approval? This is like fucking FDR numbers. What are we doing? Who's showing him this? I wonder if his staff is so attuned to how he works that they just make fake polls and say, oh, sir, they just held a parade for you in all 50 states. And they fucking show him some AI image of a parade float with him. He's like, oh, yes, everyone loves me.
I have one at
We will ask the White House to
71.
share that
Oh,
with
wait a
us.
minute.
Yeah.
71%. And then I have polls where I'm at 44% and 42%.
Yeah, the real ones. And those are the ones that are still a bit friendlier to you. I think I really wonder to what extent pollsters have started bumping up Trump just because they're scared of facing legal consequences. Like, when he sues Ann Selzer, do we think that a random fucking pollster in Iowa, I think Iowa, right? Ann Selzer can afford to go through an entire fucking litigation and like discovery process with Trump in a lawsuit? I wonder how many pollsters are like, fuck it, bro, just add 3 points, whatever. So he leaves us alone.
The polls are almost dishonest.
I truly believe that Trump's actual approval rating right now is somewhere around 30%.
as dishonest as some
And
of the
that's just, it's coming from vibes. I'm sorry. But I just, if we're questioning polls now, if Trump's going to question polls, I'm going to question them too. I have a very hard time believing that Democrats were performing better right before the 2018 midterms than right before the 2026 midterms. By all accounts, it seems to me that Trump would be way less popular right now than he was at this point in his first term. Way less popular.
reporters themselves.
Yeah.
But I'm getting very good polls. I'm getting very good polls on crime prevention, on law and order, and on the border. I have to. And I'm starting to get great polls on the economy, which I think
the
is our
polls on the
biggest
economy
success.
they're not great.
They should be great.
They should be.
Oh, okay. They should be. They should be great, yeah.
So why aren't they? If you believe that,
I don't know. I don't. I mean,
Democrats are up 5.2 points in the midterm generic ballot. Am I wrong, or were they not up like 8 points or not? They were up significantly right before 2018.
look, I've got
Americans tell us, we hear this. I mean, we're going to get into the economy later. but I mean,
37 to 41. Yeah, that makes sense.
Tell us they don't.
But even that, bro, I can't believe that there are 41% or 37% of them. I really truly believe that the Alex Preddy thing was a we crossed a Rubicon. That was like a paradigm shift. That definitely changed. A lot of normies woke up to what was going on when the Alex Preddy stuff happened. And that's anecdotal, but
just understand.
Yeah.
I have 18.
and just remember, right? After January 6th, Trump's approval was like 37, 35%, right? Mid-30s. I feel like he, at the very least, should be around his post-January 6th numbers.
$1 trillion being invested into the country. Biden had less than $1 trillion for 4 years,
But when
and the
can Americans
whole country
feel
was
that?
going to credit. Do you know
When does
that,
America feel it?
Do you know that if they won that election, and we won in a landslide, do you know if they won that election, this country was, I think it was finished. I actually think it was finished. You would have had people, instead of 18 coming in, 18 trillion,
Yeah.
you would have had $10 trillion leaving.
What does that even mean? What does that even mean? First of all, where is this 18 trillion? I've been asking Trump supporters, where is the 18 trillion? Where is it coming from? Where are the contracts and the agreements? Thank you for the Panther pause. Where? Because so far he's talked about this trade deal with the EU, which was just a handshake and like an IOU, a verbal IOU. And then, Japan gave us this many billions of dollars. It was a fucking loan guarantee. It's not just free money being given to us. It's a combination of loans and non-binding promises. And a lot of those non-binding promises are governments projecting what their own private sectors are going to do, right? Like, I think the EU one, a lot of CEOs were like, yeah, the government can tell Trump that, like, the private sector is going to invest this much in America, but, like, that's ultimately up to those companies, right? And what does it mean for 10 trillion to leave the country? Would we be spending it on something? Do you think Biden was going to fill up briefcases with cash and just, like, ship them off somewhere?
I think our country, I think we would have been
Look at the Foxconn deal from his first term, killed a Wisconsin town and got crumbs in the end.
Venezuela on steroids.
I have a question about immigration still looking forward now. Your goal during the election was to deport everyone who came here illegally under President Biden. Is your mission now to deport everyone who came in illegally or just people who have come in illegally who have also committed additional crimes?
We are totally focused on criminals, really bad criminals. Now, you could say people that came in illegally are criminals.
By the way, the reason that they weren't actually focused on criminals is because when Trump first came in, for like the first month or two, they kind of tried to prioritize criminals, but then they realized there's just not that many criminals. Like, most undocumented people are not criminals. Like, the vast majority are not criminals. As in, they're not charged with crimes and they don't have convictions in the U.S. And because they are a performative administration, they want the videos and the pictures and the big numbers. They're like, fuck it, just deport whoever at that point, as long as it's 3,000 per day.
I'm talking about murderers from different countries. We have 11,888 murderers.
This would be a really good place also to ask him, you're very concerned about foreign criminals, sir. Why did you then pardon Juan Orlando Hernandez, who brought a bunch of into the United States and also a bunch of weapons in the United States? In fact, sir, Juan Orlando Hernandez was charged with the exact same crimes that your DOJ has charged Nicolas Maduro with. So why would those charges be relevant for Maduro? So relevant, in fact, they would justify invading Venezuela. But when it comes to Hernandez doing it, you just pardon him for some reason? And the story behind that is so fucking unreal. This guy, actual drug trafficker and weapons trafficker, Juan Orlando Hernandez, he writes a letter to Trump saying, listen, bro, you and me, we're both just victims of the Biden administration's lawfare. And all Trump has to see is, oh, criminal convicted during Biden's term must be a great guy. Let him out.
Biden and his group led into our country. We've captured.
Okay, according
a
to
lot
Gallup,
of them.
Trump's approval after J6 was 34. Right now it's 36. That is more. I really do trust Gallup's numbers. I know polling averages are always better, but I don't know. I really, these numbers feel a lot more like intuitively true to me. But who knows? Who knows? But yeah, 34 is the number I was familiar with from post J6.
Brought some of them back. A lot of them we don't want to bring back because we don't trust the country that they're not
Gallup's
sent
been
back
around.
again.
Yeah.
Despite how strong the borders are, they'll figure a way to try and get in, and we don't want to, and we'll incarcerate them. But 11,888 murders.
Yeah.
We are after those people. We're after the drug dealers.
Right.
We're after by the way, a big problem. They allowed to come into our country people from their mental institutions, people from insane asylums that are mentally ill and very dangerous.
I'm asking again, MAGA. I'm genuinely asking. It's not even a pointed question. Maybe I missed something. Has this man ever once in his life substantiated the idea that hordes of, like, deranged criminals are being sent here on purpose? That, like, a bunch of schizophrenics are being unleashed from asylums and, like, running here in straitjacket? Has this ever been proven anywhere? It's repeated so nonstop and so consistently that you stop even raising your eyebrow. What? It's a cartoonish idea. Why would they do that? Why would? And the same thing with criminals. They're emptying out these jails and the criminals are going to come here. Bro, if a prison in, like, Venezuela releases a bunch of criminals, why would those criminals trek hundreds of miles to get here? Where there's much stricter law enforcement. Wouldn't they just stay in that area and do the crime stuff? Like, what does he think is going on here? And I want to see evidence of this, please. Show me. Where? Trump thinks asylum and insane asylum are the same thing, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I know he's mixed those up before verbally, at least.
Dangerous. We're getting them
Right.
out.
Joe Rogan was one of your biggest endorsers in 2024. He said he understands that the president's sort of plan to deport people here who are here illegally, but he also understands why critics compare ICE officers to the Gestapo asking people for their papers.
Don't, bro, I made a video about this. By the way, after this live is over, go check out my recent YouTube video. Very interesting stuff. Okay, maybe I'm biased. Who here has seen, at this point, like 30 headlines titled, Joe Rogan finally flips on Trump? Every other week, he supposedly has finally flipped on Trump. Next day, he's glazing someone in the Epstein files or making excuses for Trump. Rogan hasn't flipped on shit, bro. He changes his mind for maximum 30 minutes at a time. Like, he called ICE the Gestapo, but then he has on Andrew Wilson, and he's like, oh, it's not accurate to call the Trump administration fascists. Well, what were the Gestapo? Like, how would those not be in the same vein? It doesn't make any sense. The only one of these podcast bros who seems to have genuinely changed his mind, whether or not you accept that, is Andrew Schultz. Andrew Schultz seems to genuinely be like, oh, fuck, this guy's an authoritarian. Rogan just says whatever the fuck pops into his head. He's probably zooted as fuck during these interviews anyways. I don't buy this idea that Rogan's finally flipping on Trump. No, he's not, bro. Where?
What's your response to him?
Well, look, first of all,
Andrew Schultz is disingenuous. I disagree. I just made a YouTube video about this. You should go check it out. But I disagree. Schultz should be held accountable, and he should have to answer for what he did because he played a major role. But as far as I can tell, Schultz was just one of these people who just didn't realize that the Constitution is not self-enforcing. And he's like, wait a second. He literally said, like, I didn't understand this was possible in the U.S. Stupid to say that, but that's the camp a lot of people are in. A lot of people saw the Alex Preddy thing and the way that the administration responded, and they were like, wait, I thought this only happened in, like, post-apocalyptic movies. I thought you guys were just exaggerating. So a lot of people have to touch the stove to realize it's hot. It is what it is.
great guy. We had a tremendous success before the election. I think it was his biggest interview ever, and over 300 million people. It was very good. She didn't want to do it. You know, she decided not to do it because she's not capable. But I spoke to him 3 days ago. We had a great conversation.
Yeah, exactly.
And
See,
all I'm doing.
see, he's saying on the one hand that ICE is like Gestapo, and then calling up Trump on the phone. Okay, bro. Okay.
I have to keep.
Did he
the
mention
country
this to you?
safe.
Did you guys talk about this, the ICE
A little
enforcement?
bit. Just had a good conversation. I think he's a great guy, and I think he likes me too.
Yeah.
And, you know, liking me isn't important. What happens is that I think we do a phenomenal job, but I don't think we're good at public
This interview was like a few days ago. It's a new interview.
relations.
What does that mean? You've said that a couple times now. What do you mean by that?
We don't sell the great job that we're doing. Look, we have the safest
Is that your
country.
staff, or does your staff?
Excuse me, people from your persuasion, somewhat left, to a job on numbers.
Calling this guy somewhat left or implying that in any way he's biased against Trump is so crazy. Even during this, he's glazing you right now, and you're like, yeah, you're still a little bit biased, bro. Okay.
It just came out that in 125 years, we have the safest country. The best crime numbers since the year 1900.
That's a stat. Yeah, we know
That
it's
was
true.
way before my father was born.
Right.
Think of that. And yet,
What is this?
it just came out that in 125 years, we have the safest country. The best crime numbers since the year 1900.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Yep. Uh-huh. Yeah. Can you speak? Can you use your words? What do you mean? Why the fuck would the president be allowed to take credit for local law enforcement? Crime is down because of state and local police and prosecutors, not because of the federal government. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Great. Fantastic pushback. Who is this guy? Kill your. Okay. Maybe. I don't mean it. I don't mean it. But like, what is this, bro? This is horrible interviewing.
That's a stat. Yeah, we know
That
it's
was
true.
way before my father was born.
Right.
Think of that.
Who is this guy, bro? Who is this? Tom Llamas. Llamas? Not Llamas, right? Llamas, I think. 2 L's is the Y sound, right? Yeah. Okay. What is this, bro? This is embarrassing.
And yet, then you talk about crime, or you talk about this, or you talk about that, and the poll numbers aren't that good. people, we don't do a good public relations job. That's why
He's doing the Joe Biden. This was the Joe Biden thing, which I was warning all the way back in fucking 2023. If the American people are not happy, you can't just show them a fucking chart or a graph and say, hey, be happy. Look at the numbers. It's not how that works, right? So when the Biden people were saying in the 2024 campaign, hey, well, the inflation rate is now going down. Okay, but people are complaining about the cumulative inflation, right? The inflation that's already been factored into the prices. That's what they care about. He's now doing the exact same thing. Oh, I'm doing amazing. It's just that people don't understand how amazing I'm doing. Okay, bro, good luck.
doing the interview with you today.
We appreciate
I'm trying to
it.
help my people. PR.
If this had been a woman interviewing him, he would have had a different tone. True. We need British and Australian people to be the only ones interviewing him. I agreed. Jonathan Swan, I think Steve is who you're talking about, Stephen. The American media is fucking spineless, bro. Oh my God. Do we remember how they reacted after the debate with Biden? Which, by the way, justified. But Biden's was clearly, his brain was melting. I think that the backlash was justified. I'm glad Biden was not the nominee. But bro's falling asleep in the middle of cabinet meetings. He has no idea what's going on ever in his own administration. And the most you get out of these people is, yep, yeah, yep. Do you think if this guy Tom Yamas interviewed Biden after the debate and he was like, sir, how is your mental ability right now? And Biden's like, oh, it's amazing. I'm sharp as ever. Do you think Tom Yamas would say, yep, yep, yeah, yep? Do we think that's what he would say?
Public relations.
Speaking of your people, you're never afraid.
It's like a literal abusive relationship that Trump has with the media. And I have to give credit here, even though I disagree with him on a lot of stuff. Destiny's made this point before. Very good point, which is that the media is so scared of getting called biased or being told they have Trump derangement syndrome that they bite their tongue. They hold back. They try to create this veneer or this image of like, oh, let's treat both sides equally. Like, it was so mind-boggling to me during the debate between Tim Walz and J.D. Vance, the vice president debate, where they were tougher when they asked Tim Walz, sir, exactly what year and month and week did you go to China? Like, exactly when was this? Like in Eastern time. When did you go to China? Meanwhile, they asked J.D. Vance about, hey, would you help Trump steal the election? And he dodges the question. When the media is holding in the same regard, what year did you go to China? And would you help steal an election? When those are treated as like questions of equal legitimacy, the media is playing a pretty big role in normalizing this shit.
Help my people. PR, public relations.
Speaking of your people, you're never afraid to shake up your team. You've said that you're okay with shaking up your team. Do you still believe in Kristi Noem to deliver on your vision of immigration?
Okay. Look, she was in charge of the border. The border's closed. I mean, everybody gives me A+ on the border. The border was a disaster. People were pouring into our country.
But what about the
They
enforcement?
don't even try and come up now. You know the beautiful thing? The caravans. I think I came up with that name. Thousands of people, 25, 30,000 people.
Yeah, they're scared of lawfare. They're scared of these lawsuits. And it's like, it's just disappointing how quickly. I understand if like an individual person is really scared of a lawsuit. Like if, for example, Trump started going after creators, I'd be like, okay, this is probably very tough to handle as one person. These are multi-million-dollar companies with massive legal teams. Fight him in court, bro. Go. You're going to win. You're settling cases that are bullshit cases.
In a group. You know who sent them? Their countries. They sent the people that they didn't want. Not only criminals, people that didn't want to work hard, etc. They know who it is. They sent them into our country. We have nobody coming in anymore. We have
None of them have any guts. And yeah, it's just like, obviously profit is going to matter more than like the constitutional system of checks and balances to these companies.
You just asked me, Kristi, we have the best crime numbers that we've had in 125 years. I think she's doing a very good job. Again, public relations. She's not getting credit for the job that she does.
Let's move to the economy now.
And excuse me, what is sad, though?
This would be a good place to ask Trump, hey, wasn't Kristi Noem having the DHS contract with companies that she has ties to? Isn't that conflict of interest to be using government contracts to like enrich companies that you have some kind of connection to?
It is.
Is he just lying about this stuff, or is the crime rate really better? The crime rate is down across the country, especially in many like big cities that had issues with crime during COVID. That is not because of the president. The president does not impact the crime rate, right? You can give credit to the local and state prosecutors and attorney generals and like police officers for affecting the crime rate, not the federal government. And yes, it's also following multi-year trends as well. So there's also some organic shift happening there.
We had the two primary incidents in Minnesota. So,
And you shook up leadership there. You brought Tom Homan in.
yeah, I did. And Tom is great. Tom is a superstar. But
Superstar. Hell yeah.
you do thousands of arrests. You arrest thousands of rapists. You arrest thousands of the worst people. You arrest the drug dealers. I mean, we had drug kingpins. We had murderers. Thousands. No incident. We bring them back to their
You pardon them. You pardon them all the time.
country. Two people. It's bad. I hate it.
Superstar with 50K in a lunch bag. Yeah, kava bag, right? The trend has been declining for decades. Yeah, so a lot of people compare the current crime rate to like the 90s when the crime rate was very high. I do think it's fair to point out that during COVID and like in the immediate aftermath of COVID, there was a spike up. I think because there was a lot of social effects of lockdowns. But the idea of the federal government ever taking credit for crime rates, at least have some legislation to point to that you've passed. He hasn't even done that.
hate
I'm from Minnesota and he ruined us. We want to be irrelevant again. Yeah, it's so sad, like how Minnesota was basically made an example out of because it's such an easy scapegoat or like such an easy target, right? It's this one blue island, like even when fucking Reagan won 49 states, Minnesota was still blue. It's the one state that like Trump always gets kind of close to flipping, but he never actually is able to flip it to red. You had the quote unquote Somali fraud scandal, which I still don't understand why we call that the Somali fraud scandal. Like, what was this, like 70 people out of how many 100,000 people who are Somali that live in Minnesota? Why is this called the Somali? Just call it the Minnesota fraud scandal. And conservatives say, well, it's because like the vast majority of the people indicted are Somali. Do you know how many crimes the vast majority of the people indicted are like white guys? We call this like the Caucasian fraud scheme, the Irish fraud scheme, the Anglo fraud scheme. We don't call it that. There's many other cases of like large scale fraud or like RICO charges or like group criminal activity where all the people involved are like white men. We don't label those, the white men fraud scandal. We just call it fraud. So the fact that you keep inserting, it's the Somali fraud. Okay, bro. Okay.
been talking about it. Two people out of tens.
Will you make a video on the files? I'd like to see it. I made a couple TikToks about it, but there's not much I can add right now to the Epstein Files stuff. There's so many people doing like really good work on it, reading in depth. So I wouldn't say I'm the best like first person source for that kind of analysis right now.
Of thousands, okay? And you get bad publicity. Nobody talks about all of the murderers that were taken out of our country. They don't talk about...
But it was two Americans.
They don't talk
who died,
about
you know?
we have the smallest trucks. As an example, we've been very tough on the waters, and soon, you know, pretty much overall. But if you
the
look
waters?
at the waters where we knock out boats, each
Even the interviewer had no fucking idea. We've been very tough on the waters. The waters are really getting it now. The waters were acting up during Biden. You put him in check, though. What is...
boat that we knock out, we save 25,000 American lives. We're doing a
What?
job like no. If you look at the waters where we knock out boats, each boat that we knock out, we save 25,000 American lives.
According to what? Is the... I don't... Okay, I guess we can fact check him. Did each boat strike save 25K Americans? President Donald Trump said the U.S. military strikes on 5 Venezuelan boats have saved more than 100,000 lives because the maneuvers thwarted drug smuggling. Every boat that we knock out, we save 25,000 American lives. So every time you see a boat and you feel badly, you say, wow, that's rough. It is rough. But if you lose 3 people and save 25,000 people. The administration did not supply PolitiFact with evidence that the boats were carrying drugs. And I think the New York Times analyzed some of the debris of one of these boat strikes, and they found like some flour. I don't think they even found any like powder. Maybe there was powder, but like the idea this is saving tens of thousands of American lives. Okay, bro, sure. Trump has used the figure repeatedly and also says he would consider similar strikes on land. Is any source even going to be given here? Okay, several aspects of Trump's statement make it wrong. There's no way of knowing how many lives are saved as a result of drug interception efforts. Drug experts have told PolitiFact. Yeah, that makes sense to me. I don't know how you'd have that kind of number.
We're doing a job like nobody's ever seen before. I just got off the phone with President Xi, and he is amazed.
They did find, I said flower because I don't want to say that word and get my live. I don't know if that's going to affect the live at all.
At how well the United States is doing. He said he's never seen anything like it.
You brought the conversation.
I just got off the phone with President Xi, and he is amazed at how well the United States is doing. He said he's never seen anything like it.
This is so embarrassing. This is so embarrassing, bro. These world leaders are probably having a field day. It's so easy to pacify Trump. Do you think Xi was genuinely complimenting him? And he thinks it's so for real. This is like when a couple months ago when he was like, I can't believe Putin would lie to me. I never expected this. He told me one thing on the phone and then did another. He doesn't understand the fact that like people know he's a fucking insecure narcissist and they know how to feed his ego. They know how to glaze him. That's why every foreign head of state or every CEO of a company, when they come to the White House, they bring some kind of shiny golden trinket.
You brought the conversation,
And
Mr.
he's
President.
none the wiser. He has no idea he's being played. She just told me that this is like the guy who thinks the stripper likes him or like is in love with him. He's like, oh, she just called me and told me like he thinks I'm so awesome and so smart and so successful. She told me that. Okay, bro. I'm sure he meant it.
Let me ask you, what did you talk about with the leader of China?
About a lot of topics. We talked
What's
about
the most
so much.
important topic? Is it chips? Is it the wars in Ukraine? What is going on?
I would say the economy, the relationship that we have with China. I'm going to be going there in April. Then he's coming here toward the end of the year.
Coming to the White House?
He's coming to the White House, toward the end of the year. We have a very good relationship. And, you know, it's important that I have a good relationship and for him that he has a good relationship with me. We have to have a good. These are the two most powerful countries in the world, and we have a very good relationship.
You talk about tariffs?
We spoke for an hour.
Does he ask you about the tariffs? Is he saying this
well,
is
they're
hurting
paying
us?
a lot of tariffs, as you know. China's paying a lot of tariffs. In the past, they didn't. I'm the one that put tariffs on China. I put tariffs on a lot of tariffs.
At least he's going to push back on the idea that China's paying the tariffs, right? We have detected inactivity on your live? The fuck? Hold on. There we go.
Or, just so you understand, making our country rich. Our country has taken in hundreds of billions.
Who the fuck is this interviewer, bro? He should be ashamed of himself. He quit. Go do something else, bro. Go work at McDonald's. This is not the field for you. If you're going to sit in front of the president of the United States and he says, well, as you know, China has been paying a lot of tariffs. At the very least say, I actually don't know that because it's not how tariffs work.
Of dollars in tariffs, really trillions, because the threat.
Yeah. Did everyone hear that? He did. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. That's all he's fucking said this entire video. Who's the guy from fucking Chowder? Is it Schnitzel? Who can just say rada rada? Like he can't say anything. This guy has one word in his vocabulary. Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
Making our country rich. Our country has taken in hundreds of billions of dollars in tariffs, really trillions, because the threat of tariffs is getting all of these countries to lose to us.
Yeah.
And by the way, they've been doing it
What the fuck does it even mean to lose to us? He's so stupid, bro.
for 40 years. And now, but I'm doing it very judiciously, very fairly. But tariffs are bringing in tremendous amounts of money. I just gave $12 billion to our farmers because they were mistreated by certain countries.
Yeah.
Because of your fucking tariffs. antagonize other countries and then they fight back, that's on you, bro.
Tariff money. We're taking in hundreds of billions.
No, and I want to
of
ask you
dollars.
about that. I want to get into that. Talking about the economy, you've brought a lot of prices down, as we said. Some are still stubborn.
KYS. I'll say KYS. It means keep yourself safe, of course. That's what I mean by it.
I want to get into that. Talking about the economy, you've brought a lot of prices down, as
He didn't even say prices have come. You've brought okay, how did Trump bring prices down? What did Trump do to bring prices down? If you want to say that some prices for some goods and some services have trended down, descriptively fine, that could be accurate. You've brought a lot of prices down? Can you imagine if an interviewer said this to Biden?
we said. Some are still stubborn.
Very few.
But
And
when-
still,
yeah,
and still, MAGA will watch this and think that the interviewer's biased against Trump. That's how fragile these people are. They'll still think Trump was treated unfairly here.
very few. I get it.
Very
Yeah.
few. Hundreds of billions.
No, and I want to
of
ask you
dollars.
about that. I want to get into that. Talking about the economy, you've brought a lot of prices down, as we said. Some are still stubborn.
Very few.
But when you, yeah, very few. I get it.
very
Yeah.
few.
When you talk to Americans, though, do you have to get them to understand that
do.
the prices are not going to come back down to your first term because we had a pandemic and we had record inflation? Are people's expectations too high, or is it just too expensive to live in America?
I just, again, don't think
Sir, you've brought a lot of prices down. Only a few that you haven't brought down, but like maybe it's on the American people for expecting them to go down, honestly. Maybe it's not even your fault.
we're selling it properly. We've done a great job.
But it's expensive out there.
You saw gasoline this last week at $1.
This is so shameful. This is so shameful. A journalist. Is he a journalist? Who the fuck is this guy, anyways? Joke of a human being. Who is this guy? Loyola University, New Orleans. Television news anchor and television journalist. 2000 to present. Began his broadcasting career at the age of 15 as an intern for the news department at WSCV in Hialeah, Florida. During the 2016 U.S. presidential campaign, Llamas reported on the Republican candidates. He criticized the use by Jeb Bush and Donald Trump of the term anchor baby and was called a sleaze by Trump. After questioning him about the amount of money he had donated, this is someone Trump has shit on before? Trump called him a sleaze? What does that even mean? Immoral, sordid, and corrupt behavior. Okay, bro. What a joke.
99 cents a gallon. It used to be, it was $4.50, $5 a gallon.
Huh?
$1 properly. We've done a great job.
But it's expensive out there.
You saw gasoline this last week at $1.99 a
What did he say? Where was this fucking Narnia? Where was gas? Maybe I'm missing something. The cheapest gas we're seeing anywhere is basically $2.40 in Oklahoma. National average is $2.90. Lowest state average is $2.40. Where is the $1.89 gasoline? Louisiana is cheaper. It says Louisiana is $2.50. Oh, okay, I see the issue. My screen sharing is frozen again. I might have to restart the live because that shit is really, really annoying. Hold on. See, here we have the lowest is in Oklahoma for regular. And then we have here the national average is $2.90. Louisiana was $2.25 last week. Still not $1.89 or even close to it, but I guess that's fine. Okay, you know what? I'm restarting the live. I'm not gonna keep refreshing my screen share and my screen audio capture because it just stops on YouTube. So I need everyone, like the Proud Boys did for Trump, to stand back and stand by. And it's not working on YouTube. See, if you're watching on YouTube, the audio is not popping up, and it's gonna keep. Even if I refresh it, it's gonna keep pausing. So I'm gonna have to turn my laptop off and start over again. Everyone needs to stand back and stand by. Okay. Stand back and stand by. We'll be right back very shortly.